Hey, what's up, Jess, my bestie?
Hello. Just having a little bit of computer
Technical
issues, so I'm going to be
difficulties.
moving around a bit. So don't get drunk.
Okay, no problem. All right,
So,
well, we thought since we're happily married, can I use that word happily?
I,
Since
I don't
we're,
even have my ring right now.
I just put my rings on. I usually never have them on because of the kids.
Same.
But anyway, we've been
Yeah.
married for 5 years now. We both have kids. And we thought we would discuss with the younger generation. How do you know if a guy's wasting your time or if he's serious? Because I think we've been through enough time wasting before we got married.
Yes. And a lot of fun wasting, which wasn't wasting. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed my 20s. So did you.
Yes. A lot.
We
So
were frolicking around Manhattan in our 20s.
that was a fun time. But yes, we had
Yeah.
to kiss a lot of frogs maybe before ish.
I mean, I'm still
I
kissing
know
a
I
frog. I'm just joking.
Same. It's fine. I think you get married and then they turn back into frogs. It's fine. Um,
Yeah.
but yes, let's talk about how you know if he's the one or if he's serious about you or not.
So I think first step is obviously if you're on a date and a guy tells you he's not looking for anything serious. I feel like so many girls go on amazing dates. The guy
Hmm.
totally is like, I'm not looking for anything serious. I'm just trying to have fun. And then they come home, they talk with their girlfriends, and they're like, I think I can convince him to have a serious relationship with me.
Yep. No, you can't. Move on.
And it's like he verbally told you he doesn't want anything serious. Like you're not going
Yep.
to come and change his mind.
No, that's never going to happen. Or in
Yeah.
my
So
scenario,
I think,
before I got married, I was in a relationship for 3.5 years, wasted a lot of time. This guy came in really hot and
mhm.
heavy. Like, he was amazing. Like from the bat, he was the one that said, I love you first. He's like, I want to get married. I want to have kids. Fine. So we went on. A year and a half later, I saw red flags. Did I want to see them? No. But all of a sudden he was like, oh, I don't want kids. I don't want to get married. And I was like, no, no, no. He'll change his mind again, for sure. It has to, because he always said he did. And he didn't. And I never hung out with his family. I went to visit like his parents' apartment when they were out of town. Um, because he wanted to show me where he grew up, like really weird things, right? And it was also very like, you don't know much about this relationship because he made me isolate myself from my friends. And I
I do
changed.
remember
My
that. I remember you guys
personality
were
changed.
together. You
Yeah.
broke up and then you messaged me and were like, "Oh, we got back together. We're going on a vacation. I think you were going to Hawaii with him."
Yes,
And that
yes,
was
yes.
literally like the last I heard of you for a really long time. Like, I mean, randomly we'd like hit each other up. But I mean, we were like talking, even if we didn't see each other,
Wait
we were
list.
like at least talking every day.
Yep. Yep. And then in that
And I
relationship
didn't
for
hear
three and
from
a half
you.
years. Yep. And every time I was ready to give in, he would be like, let's plan a vacation. So we went to Hawaii, we went to Belize. Um, we went else, I forgot where, oh, Aruba. And if he wouldn't plan a vacation, he would give me an expensive gift. Like he gave me a Tiffany's like Picasso bracelet once. One time he gave me like a Cartier scarf. And it was like every time he was baiting me back, you know? So really being aware of your red flags, you need to know that. Like if he doesn't want to spend time with you and your family, that's a problem. If he's gaslighting
Mhm.
you and making you feel like you're crazy because that happened to me, that's a problem. But when you're in the moment, it's hard for you to realize it. But you have to look at what a narcissist is and see, am I with a narcissist? Am I being gaslighted? Does this person have good intentions? Because it's really hard to step back and listen to your friends and your family.
Okay, so for background, gaslighting. Because I'm not going to lie, I didn't know about gaslighting until, well, now it's been a long time, but I didn't really know about it until I Googled literally like some of the things that one of my exes was doing to me, and gaslighting came up. And like gaslighting, for those of you who don't know, is basically when, let's say a guy treats you really bad. He picks you up late constantly, or he gets drunk and like says really rude things to you. And then when you bring it up and you talk to him, he basically tells you that it's your fault, that you did something to make him upset. And that's why he had to talk to you like that. Or, he has a fight with you and he says, well, if you didn't make me angry, I wouldn't have had the fight with you. So that's what gaslighting is. It's basically when the person who's doing the bad behavior, instead of taking responsibility for their behavior and apologizing or doing whatever it is they should do to make it better, or, accept the fact that they did that behavior, they basically turn it on you.
Yep. Exactly. And it's not good.
Yeah. Which... No, it's not. And I can tell you this, even if you don't know what gaslighting is, you know what it is. You feel it. Because I had an ex who did this to me too. It was a very short-term relationship. It was actually serious. I was living in another city. I was dating somebody. And he was just like the guy you described. I was like, oh, I want to go upgrade my iPhone. He went and bought my new iPhone for me as a gift. And I was like, wow, I've never really had a guy do that for me. So whatever. I was like, okay, thank you. Then I wanted, I needed to buy some clothing. I went to the mall with him and then he paid for it. And I felt like, wow, this is what a guy's supposed to do. This is the guy that everyone describes, the guy who takes care of you, pays for your things. So I was feeling like I'm cloud nine. Really? But then the evening would come, we'd go to dinner and he'd be high or drunk. And he would get in a fight with if he thought the waiter was being too nice to me or something, he'd break a plate. I'm not even joking. In the restaurant, have a huge argument, get up and walk out on me. And then the next day he'd bring me a gift, apologize. And this is reoccurring for months and months and months. And when I finally moved back home, I was like, this is my moment. This is my escape. I get to dump him and leave and it's clean.
And it's out.
But yeah. So I would say this, really trust your gut. Mm-hmm. If a guy's telling you, I don't want to be with you, has horrible behaviors, you have to trust your gut. If it doesn't feel good, it means it's not good.
Yes. And if they're constantly belittling you and making you feel like shit, why would you want to be with that person anyway? This ex of mine, I grabbed the fork in an appropriate manner and I cut. There's right and wrong ways to hold silver. Oh my God. I would be reprimanded.
Your eating etiquette?
Yes. I would be reprimanded about how I held my fork at a restaurant when we were having dinner. And if I grabbed something quickly and I didn't hold it correctly, it was a fight. It was telling he would be telling me how embarrassing I am to him and, how I shouldn't act that way. So, if you feel like that and if you feel that you haven't seen your friends and that you haven't, if your parents, especially your mom, because your mom knows you best, if she says, I don't feel like you're happy, I feel like you're different, listen, really listen, because it's not like they're telling you, I hate that person. It's just that it's not good for you. So you really need to you really have to believe it and not think that people are out to get you, because people that love you want you to be in a good, healthy relationship.
Yeah, and I'll say that. I think in your 20s, you have a really contentious relationship with your parents. I can say this. Now I'm married. I'm in my mid-30s. So are you. We're the same age. I mean, I've always been really close to my mom. But in my 20s, I thought she was annoying. I was like, oh, she has nothing nice to say about any of the guys I date. She never has anything positive to say. She complains about me hanging out late. She complains about the friends I'm with. It was just I'm over it. I don't want to know anything about it. And now I'm older, and now I'm a mom myself. Yep. And I'm already fast forward thinking about when my daughter is going to date. And I'm like, okay, been through that. And, I'm going to try to be kinder to her than my mother was to me. So that hopefully she will take in what I have to say way more seriously than I did when my mother told me.
Exactly. Yes. I hope that we are able to do that. But then. Yeah.
I think the other thing is also what you feel like you're getting out of the relationship, like you said. If you feel like you're always doing and giving, you give all your attention, you cut off your friends to dedicate more time to this person, you, I don't know, change the way you dress or do your makeup, or you start working out more, to get slimmer. I had a boyfriend who, when I was working out, he'd always compliment me. He'd be like, oh, you look so toned, your arms are so, and it would psychologically mess me up and make me think oh my God, this guy likes it when I'm really slim and work and toned, and I lived in the gym, and I'm not gonna lie, I was in the best shape of my life in that relationship. But when I think about it, I'm it wasn't healthy.
Yep. No, because
I would have liked him even if he was a little, Yeah. I would have liked
Shocking.
him even if he was a little bit fat.
Yeah, right. That's what matters, and also making sure that your goals are aligned and that they're rooting for you. In my scenario, I was taking the bar and I studied my ass off for 3 whole months. The night before the bar, he told me that he had a client dinner and so that he wouldn't be able to sleep at my place, which is the only thing I asked for because I had to get up at 5 in the morning. And he said, sorry, if you need me to, then I'll go at midnight. He showed up at like 1 in the morning.
Mm.
And he was like, why do you even need me here? And then I basically like cried the entire time. And he told me that I was going to fail and that it was going to be like, sorry, you're going to have to take it again. And implied that like I wasn't smart enough to pass on multiple occasions. And the following day, the bar is a multiple day exam in
Yeah.
New York. And the next day he did the same thing. And he said, I have a client dinner. And he didn't sleep over. And I don't know if he cheated on me or not. I don't know. But I had a feeling. And I drove to his house like a crazy person because that's what you do when you're manic. And I swear that I saw the shade move. And maybe it didn't or maybe it did. I don't know. But whether it did or it didn't, like, you shouldn't do that to somebody that you love. You want them to get ahead in life, right? So if anyone's trying to bring you down, that's another red flag. They want you to succeed because then you would succeed together.
Exactly.
Yep. They can't make
Yeah.
you feel
So
like
definitely, no. And then I also think, again, like, then there's the makeup and breakup couples. I'll be honest, like, I never experienced that because usually when a guy dumped me or I dumped them, like, I have made, it's weird. I don't think I have ego issues in general. Like, I'm not really prideful. But when it came to that, I had a lot of pride and I'd be like, okay, you dumped me. Like, there's like 500 of you at least out there. Like, bye. But then I definitely had the friends. I mean, who would like make up and break up and or they would break up with each other and they would be texting each other like, oh, I miss you. I really care about you. And I just want to say, like, that's so unhealthy. Like, if somebody loves you,
just cut it off.
if they respect you the way they're saying they do and they love you the way they're saying they do in those texts, then they would either be with you and commit to you full-heartedly and give you what it is you want. And if they can't, then they need to, like, as the English say, bugger off. Like,
Yes.
like,
just done. You have
Yes.
to move on with your life. Clean slate. Like this
Yeah.
friendship stuff, it doesn't work. I had
No.
never, like, when I break up with someone, I'm out. This was the one exception. I don't know why I fell so hard. I don't know why. He was even that attractive. He was a dork. But he was my exception. And then that should have been my other red flag. Like, I'm being different. I'm a different human right now.
But I think when that happens, you think you're maturing. That's what you think. You're like, oh, this is what a mature relationship is. It's us dedicating time to each other.
It's not. And
No.
funny story, we got married, him and myself, obviously to different people, about 2 months from each other. And he now has 3 kids. The first 2 are the same age as ours, and then he has, and we pretty much had kids at the same time. Like, it's insane. Like,
Okay.
but good for you. May you make another lady miserable.
Yeah, I was gonna say, honestly though, like, I'm so glad you didn't marry him because you were like not 100% up there. I mean, every time we hung out, you'd like drink and start crying about your relationship with him.
Miserable.
Which I think is another red flag. If talking about your relationship to other people makes you upset, it's not a healthy relationship.
Yep, exactly. Or if you have to make up lies to make it seem like it's good.
Yeah,
'Cause you know.
yeah. I mean, and again, I bring up the body stuff because this is actually a weird discussion I had with my husband the other night because I'm chubbier now than I was when I got married. Like, I'm at the heaviest I think I've ever been my entire life. And anytime I bring it up and I complain and I'm like, I feel so, like, unattractive, I don't feel myself, blah, blah, blah. My husband always, like, I gotta give this to him. He's never been like, oh, yeah, you were, like, really hot when you were skinny. He's never like that. He's always like, oh, you're so beautiful. You gave birth to our two children. Like, this is a phase when you're, when you have more time to dedicate to yourself, or if you want to dedicate to yourself, or you want to go to the gym, like, you can slim down.
You
like,
will
it's not. Yeah. And he's always like, you look like, I'm content with you as you are, like, genuinely.
Right.
And
not make
I
you
thought I
feel
was
like
telling
crap.
him. Yeah. And I was telling him how I had previous boyfriends in the past who had, like, made comments about my weight. And honestly, like, when I reflect back, I'm like, how horrible they were, because I was so thin. I really was. I'm not even trying to toot my own horn. Like, I was really thin in those days. And I had a guy who was, like, actually kind of chubby, and he'd constantly be like, oh, if you had a six-pack, you'd be so hot. And I was like, you're freaking huge. You have a gut.
Yeah, like, you stop eating.
Like, you're telling me, like, I'm thin. And I work
The same
out, like,
thing
I'm
could happen
healthy.
to me. Yep. And with
And
this
you're
guy.
like,
Only
and
with
you're
this
still
guy.
skinny.
I
At
know,
least
I'm
you're
really
still thin.
fortunate. Like, we have genes, like, in our family, where we're really thin.
I know, I'm so jealous.
But he would always tell me, like, you're gonna eat that? You're gonna, and I'm like,
same.
Like,
I was eating
what?
fries, and I had one guy, like, literally was like, you're eating fries. And I'm like, and?
Yep.
Like,
Yeah.
what's wrong? I'm eating fries,
Is
dude.
this not food? What? Like, I can eat this.
Yeah,
But, like,
I think
to-
the controlling stuff, food, those are all warning signs.
Exactly. You have to, and
And
then
I
you
think-
have to look at the other side. Like, now that we're married, what was the difference, right? Like, it was like, when a guy wants to commit to you, because they tell you from the start they're behind you, they're after you. They think that you're perfect, that you do everything well. They want you to see their family. They want you to be out with their
Yep.
friends. They praise you. They tell you you're beautiful all the time, whether or not you want to hear it, because I know I don't.
Yeah.
I hate PDA. I don't want you to touch me in public. Like, I don't want you to make out with me. Like, I'm not into that. But they want to do that, right? And that's how you know.
Or even, for example, I think about it now, like, my husband, like, our other mutual friend who we've known for 25 plus years, I used to always be her plus one to all of her holiday parties, because her now husband worked with her. So, like, he'd bring his friend and she would bring me. And literally, these parties were, like, in Manhattan. And I live on Long Island. If anybody knows, like, Long Island to Manhattan, it's supposedly a 1 hour, like, trek. But with traffic and in the middle of the night, it never is. And it also depends where you are. Anyway, to get to my point. I literally was, like, texting with my husband now. At that point, we were just dating. And it was, like, 3 o'clock in the morning. And he was like, instead of taking the Long Island Railroad back home, I'll come and get you. And I'm like, it's 3 a.m. By the time you get here, it's 4. Like, you have work. And he was like, no, it's fine. And literally, he got in his car. And, like, before I even could keep telling him no, he was like, oh, I'm here.
Yep. Exactly.
And I was like,
it's like that
dude.
commitment.
I was like, I've never
how
had a
you
guy
know.
do that, as pathetic as it sounds. Like, no guy. I used to date a guy in New Jersey. He used to make me, like, hop on the Long Island Railroad and then jump on the PATH train, which is another train. And when I think about it now, I'm like, how pathetic was I that I did all this? And then he ended up dumping me.
Yeah. To, like, get out.
And my now husband would, like, come pick me up.
Yep. Exactly. You need to know the difference. You need to be able to see who wants to be with you and who's just messing with you.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying, like, you should make these, like, huge expectations, and if the guy doesn't do it, you're like, oh, he doesn't love me. But I'm saying, like, certain actions they take are very loving, and these are the things somebody who actually genuinely cares about your well-being will do.
Exactly.
So,
You know in your gut.
yeah, you do. And like you said, my husband constantly would tell me, like, I want to get married. Like, I want to be with you long term. And I mean, for a long time, I was like, because I really enjoyed being single.
And also, I don't know why, like, women are just, we want, like, a bad guy at first. Like, we want somebody to treat us like shit, and then you're like, oh, God, I got my heart broken, and then here I am. And that's how it happened with my husband. Like, I have known him for, I don't know, 20 years now? 17?
Yeah, you've known Rich for a long time, yeah.
For a long time. And so he was always after me, and, here I am. And now his dad tells me, like, oh, if the mom likes you, you just got to keep at it. And he did. He definitely kept at it. And it's nice to be with a nice guy, not with someone that treats you like shit.
Yeah, same. I met my husband in 2009, 2010. And we were friends for, like, the longest time. We had, like, a mutual friend group. I mean, we weren't besties, but we had a mutual friend group. So I always saw him, like, at birthday parties and events. And then we kept in touch too for a little bit. And same, like I would date someone, break up with someone, date someone. We always kept talking, and he always kept trying to like go on dates. And I'd randomly go on a date with him here and there, but it was never anything serious. And then boom, like it took, like you said, a few really shitty relationships for me to be like, hello.
You have somebody that really likes you. Why are you going to
someone who respects you.
Yep. Yes.
Yeah.
Like, learn that lesson first. Be with a nice guy, please. Don't waste your time, break your heart. Like, go with a nice guy. Nice guys don't finish last. They finish first.
No, they don't. And you know what's the other excuse I used to get a lot too from, and I always remember this from the one serious relationship that was before my husband. He kept telling me, because we were both in school. I was in medical school at the time, and he was in dental school. And he kept being like, oh, I can't commit and be serious, until we graduate. And then until, you get into a residency and, like, I'm working and I make money. And I'd be like, by the time that happens, like, that's like 4 or 5 more years. I'm like, why can't we at least get engaged? At least have a commitment, And I guess, and I'll be honest, like, I'm not desperate. I really am not. Anytime he was like, I have an exam, I would give him like the whole weekend. I wouldn't even text him. I'd wait for him to text me because I was in school. I understood like how important it was not to be distracted.
Yep.
And then one day he literally like broke up with me and was like, oh, I just really need my space. You're overwhelming me. And I was just like, wow, like I was actually tutoring at the time, and I had given him like all my tutoring like books from I used to work for Kaplan, and I gave him all the dental books and everything. I'm like, oh, he had no problem taking all that stuff from me.
Of course.
But then I'm like bothering him.
Mm-hmm. Red flag.
Yeah. So, I mean, I feel like if men bring up the fact that they're not financially ready, they're not emotionally, like, hello, red flag. They don't want anything to do with you.
Yes. Or, again, the big one. They don't want your family or your friends to see you.
Yeah.
Or post anything on social media.
Yeah, exactly. I had the same thing. Mine was like, oh, I don't want to post anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a red flag,
Yeah,
And
I mean,
also,
I'm not saying like you have to post 20 pictures of each other, but I mean, people
At
in
least
your
one.
circle should have an idea that you're together.
Of course. In the 3.5 years that I was with my ex, not
never met
one
him.
picture of us was posted. No, you didn't. Mm-mm.
No.
So, red flags. So I think in summary, those are the things. Avoidance of seeing friends, family, excuses that you're not ready financially, career-wise, personally.
Gaslighting.
Belittling you, making you feel bad, changing their mind, or always just saying, I don't want anything serious or anything else in the future.
And again, like I said, just doing those like kind gestures every once in a while. Like there was this whole, I don't remember them off my top of the head, but there was this whole thing like the 5 love languages, like how people love differently. I'll be honest, I don't really buy that stuff personally. I just feel like at the end of the day, the person.
Believe that.
Really? You do? What's your love language?
Doing things. I forgot what it was, but like doing tasks, and my husband is touch. And I'm like, can you not touch me? Like, that's not do the dishes without me asking you. And I'd be like, oh man, he loves me. That is my love language.
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
I get hot and bothered at that,
But see, at least you recognize that, that's like what Rich's love language is. So you don't get upset when he doesn't do the dishes.
No, I still do. I mean, for sure I do. But then he comes and touches me and I'm like, do the dishes. Then we can talk.
So I don't remember, but I think I'm like you. I like to do things for other people. Like I like to do things. That's my way of showing I love you.
Yes. No. Oh, yeah. And that's what I want for myself too.
Yeah.
I want you to
Maybe that's why we love
that.
each other so much.
Exactly. This works out,
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
We have the same love language.
Sometimes we hate our husbands, but we picked good ones. And so let's carry on with marriage, even though it is hard as hell.
Marriage is hard. It's hard. And so you have to work on it. But like we were saying, there are just certain like warning signs that are out there. And I'm not saying warning signs in a bad way, but you have to take what someone says at face value. Like if the person is telling you, I don't want anything serious, or I'm not financially ready, or I'm not emotionally ready, or I'm not in the place in my life where I want a serious relationship, or where I can get married or make a commitment. Like they are telling you and you need to accept it,
Yep.
or you're going to waste
think-
a lot of your precious time.
100%. And don't stay in relationships when you want things, like when you want kids and somebody doesn't want kids. Don't. When you want to get married and he doesn't want to get married, or he wants to get married and you don't, someone's going to end up miserable. Cut it. Cut it from the start, because you don't want to be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years down the road and you're 40, 50,
Trying
30,
to convince
and not
somebody
even-
to have a kid.
And then at that point, it's too late for you. Don't do it. Don't do it. So reevaluate yourself and see who you're with, what you want. Have limited expectations, okay? No guy is
Yeah,
like
exactly.
a unicorn. Those are hard.
No, they don't exist. And whoever says they have a unicorn is lying. They just don't want to tell you they're not
Something's going
unicorns. Yeah.
Yeah, So go on, be happy and be merry. Find your version of your unperfect unicorn, okay? And I guess let us know what your stories are. Have you been gaslighted?
Yeah, and let us know under the comments, like, topics you guys want us to discuss, questions. We can even discuss this topic in further detail. I mean, I feel like this is one of those conversations that could go on for hours.
100%.
We just don't want to go on for hours. We don't want to bore everybody. But for sure, if there's any relationship questions, marriage questions, please feel free to comment and let us know what you think. Jess is also a lawyer, so if you want to ask any questions about divorce, you can. She can't give real legal advice, but she can advise you where to seek advice.
100%.
And if you're depressed, I'm the doctor over here. But no, seriously, let us know, and hopefully you'll be hearing from us soon.
Yes. All right. Bye, bitches.